Good morning. Good morning. If we could all begin to take our seats. We gave the program just a few minutes to get started for those coming from the metro area to navigate traffic, but we all know it's because everyone stayed up late watching the Braves win their fifth National League East title, so we got you. We got you. Because Steve Harvey wasn't available, you all are stuck with me for the third year in a row. I'm Brian Tukes, Director of External Affairs, and it's truly a pleasure to host this program and to celebrate the phenomenal hard work that each of you do and the devoted men and women who make up this team across the state. So before we begin, let's all give ourselves in this department a great hand for the work that we do and the difference that we make in communities across Georgia. It's truly, truly an honor to work alongside and with each and every one of you. We have a lot of great leaders and speakers on the stage, so I won't prolong the program. So if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If just a quick housekeeping, if you haven't already, please scan the QR code so that you can follow along on the digital program. At this time, it is my honor to welcome and bring to the stage for the welcome message and introduction of our speaker, our commissioner, Mr. Michael Nail. Let's give him a hand as he comes.
Thank you, Street. I didn't know whether to say thank you, Brian, or Steve Harvey, but either way, it's looking good. You're doing a good job, Brian. Thank you. Good morning. Let me just start off by saying y'all clean up well. You do. You look good. You look good. You are good. Everybody ought to be feeling good. You look at this weekend, and then you come here today, the sun's out, a little crisp feeling in the air, fall. Good, isn't it? Last weekend, Georgia won. I know. And then we had another miracle. The Falcons won. Right? But I'm going to ride the storm because last night, as Brian said, the Braves won. Yeah. So, I can't think of it getting any better, except for today. Today is a better day because we're here to celebrate the accomplishments of the men and women of DCS that make us the #1 community supervision agency in the nation. And that's because of you. That's because of what you do day in and day out. And don't ever underestimate the impact you have on making a difference. When we went to Americas last week for the law enforcement salary study, it resonated the fact that you're the only ones that do what you do. If you take DCS away, there's nobody else to fill in the gap to provide those changes to individuals. So thank you for doing meaningful work. Thank you to everyone who has made this happen. Sherry Chambers, we really, really do appreciate you as well as the entire team that you've assembled. I don't want to get Brian in trouble, but yesterday he referred to this as a Sherry show. So he told me not to say that. My bad, Brian. That's on me. But thank you, Sherry. You do a wonderful job, and I want to thank everyone that is here, but I also want to thank those that took time to write a nomination. I don't think there's any greater accolade than to be recognized by your peers and by your colleagues. So if you were nominated, somebody took time to write that nomination and submit it. Somebody recognized the great job you were doing. So to the nominees, you're all winners. That I can assure you. congratulations for being nominated, because you stand out in an incredibly important field, and I could not be more proud of you. And to the winners, congratulations in advance. Thank you for what you do each and every day. I have the distinct honor and privilege to introduce our keynote speaker, Director Jay Neal with the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. Jay was I was joking, I said when I read the first bio, it was 37 pages long. And then Jay was kind enough to break it down to some bullet points. And Jay, I certainly appreciate that. Jay was elected to the State House in 2004. He served as member of the Public Safety Subcommittee of Appropriations, Vice Chair of Public Safety and Homeland Security, and Chair of State Institutions and Properties. He sponsored the bill establishing the Council of Criminal Justice Reform. Appointed by Governor Deal in 2013 to lead the Governor's Office of Transition Support and Reentry. He was also appointed by Governor Deal in 2016 to lead the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, the role which he is still in. And he served as director of 27-bed residential drug treatment program for 3 years. Jay is married to his wife, Gretchen. They've been married for 38 years. He has 2 daughters and 7 grandchildren. He also joined the John Maxwell team in 2017 as a certified speaker, teacher, and coach. That's well and good. But let me introduce Jay Neal from Michael Nell's viewpoint. I got to know Jay many years ago. And riding down here, I was trying to think. I think our paths crossed right when he got in the legislature. Jokingly, but so true, Jay was talking about reentry and criminal justice reform before it was even cool to do so. And you can see through that, as a legislator, some of the significant legislation that he proposed and some of the work that he has done and continues to do. I had the pleasure of attending a national conference with Jay, and that's where I really got to know him. To tell you how long ago, that was when the first publication of Georgia being 1 in 15, meaning one citizen in all of 15 were under some form of correctional supervision. We've been talking about that a long time, haven't we? And we're doing much better with it. And not only that, but it was that conference where Pew had just published a report that individuals in communities expect people to be held accountable in the criminal justice system, but they also expect that while we have them under our supervision, we do something with them by way of providing opportunities to change and facilitating that change. So that was a long time ago, and I've worked with Jay closely since then, but I think one of the greatest compliments that I can personally give, we all care deeply about our children. And Mackenzie and Parker had gotten to the age where they can page. There are wonderful state representatives and senators that to select for your kids to page under. Jay Neal came to mind first because I knew the type of man that Jay was, and I knew that I wanted my children to see what people are doing to make significant differences. And so I am appreciative to have had that meeting with Jay some 20 years ago. I'm very appreciative of his friendship, and I'm appreciative of what he does each and every day for the state of Georgia and also to help us carry out our mission. So please welcome Director Jay Neal.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Commissioner Nell, for that warm introduction. I am honored to be with you today. When I received the call and the invitation to come and be a part of this ceremony today, it was one of the easiest yeses that I've ever given. I am deeply honored to be with you today. Your commissioners talked to you a little bit about our past and our relationships, and I didn't know what all he was going to say in the introduction, but I too had planned on talking about Parker and Mackenzie paging for me. One of the things that I enjoyed most as a state representative was being able to bring young people from my district to Atlanta and spend a little bit of time with them. Obviously, Parker and Mackenzie weren't from my district, but I was pleased to invite them to page for me. I believe they ended up paging for me more than once, if I remember correctly. And one of those times, just to share a little interesting story, one of those times that they paged for me, our juvenile court judge from my district just happened to be at the Capitol that day as well. I always try to spend time with the constituents from my district, and I'd met with the judge earlier that morning, and he is a property owner. He's a landlord in my district, and he mentioned to me that his building that Pardon and Parole's offices are in was about to be vacated and would be available, and I didn't know anything about that. I was a little bit surprised to hear that building was about to be vacated. Your commissioner at that time was director of Pardon and Parole. And so it was just after meeting with the judge that I met with Michael and Parker, and we were standing there talking, and I said, so I just learned this morning that Pardon and Parole is closing down in my district. At that time, I was chairman of the State Institution of Property, so I oversaw all the sales and leases and purchases of state properties, and I was a little bit surprised at that time. And when I mentioned it, he started saying, "Well, Mr. Chairman, I've been meaning to talk to you, Mr. Chairman." And Parker, I think, was in middle school at that time, and Parker says, "Dad, what did you do? Do we need to talk?" That's the way I remember it. I think that's really, really close.
Yep, that's exactly right.
We do learn as we go. We've all had those experiences where we learn as we go. I have really grown to respect your commissioner for the leadership. Our friendship is important to me. Don't misunderstand. I may talk more about his leadership, but the friendship is very important to me as well. But I truly respect him for the leadership that he has provided, whether it was at probation, pardon, and parole, DCS. He has established himself as a respected leader, not only in Georgia, but around the country, and I appreciate that so much. We have had an opportunity to work together a good bit. And yes, I've been involved in the criminal justice reform movement from the beginning, and it's a movement that I never would have anticipated that I would have been involved in. When I first ran for state representative back in 2002, by the way, you don't know my story and it doesn't matter, but I won in 2002. And the incumbent that I beat filed a lawsuit and had the election overturned. So I had a special election in January of 2003, and I lost by just a few votes. And the state party filed a lawsuit and had that election overturned. So we had another election in July. I remember running into the incumbent I was running against at a fire hall one evening, and as I walked in, and he was there visiting with volunteer firemen, I walked in, and he said, "I feel like Groundhog Day. Every morning I wake up and I'm still involved in this same campaign." I felt that way too. But when I ran for state representative, my senator told me to really, Senator Jeff Mullis is my senator. Some of you probably know him. Many of you, if you're around the Capitol much, I know you know him. He told me if you want to be effective, you need to become one who specializes in something. Be the go-to guy in something. And it really doesn't matter what it is, but just be the go-to guy. And I expected that I would be the go-to guy in education or economic development or some kind of public safety related area. As a matter of fact, I campaigned on 3 promises. I never campaigned on what I would do because I knew I'd be, if elected, one of 180 state representatives. But I campaigned on the promise of what I would work toward. I think there's a big difference in that. I would work toward improving the education opportunities for the kids in our community. I would work toward better economic opportunities for those kids in our community that we were seeing get their educations and go off to other areas of the state. And that I would work to provide a safer community for our kids. To me, being in that northwest corner of the state, safer community meant that we would be even tougher than we'd been previously on crime. Georgia has a long history of being tough on crime. And it was something that I embraced. I grew up in a very conservative family just outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. Go Vols. You didn't mention, well, they had a bye week this week. They had a bye week.
I would have otherwise.
I'm sure you would have. But I grew up on a farm, my grandfather's farm, and he had built on that farm houses for 6 of his 7 children. And I grew up on that farm. I literally was raised by a village, right? I had uncles and aunts and cousins all around. And I never saw anyone in my family even smoke a cigarette or drink a beer. So addiction, my only experience with addiction was as a pastor of a small church trying to help families whose husbands and fathers had failed them because of addictions. I had no use for that addict that chose their drugs or their alcohol over their family and their responsibilities. So I very much embraced Georgia's historic approach. We're going to punish people for their bad behavior, and if that doesn't work, we must not have punished them enough, so we're going to have to punish them more to try to correct that behavior. A couple of things happened during my campaign for state representative. One was I learned that my opponent was about to talk about what he was going to do to address the meth epidemic. So naturally, trying to make sure that I was out front of that, I made an announcement just before he did of what I was going to do. My number one campaign promise coming out of that was that I would address the meth epidemic. First bill I introduced was a bill to do that. A second thing that happened during that campaign is a man who was starting a recovery residence in our community reached out to me and asked me to serve on the board. And I thought, well, that'll be good in my campaign material. So, yes, I'll serve on your board. I kind of hate to admit that looking back on it, but that was my primary motivating factor. It was just about the time that I was going into session and my first year, this individual brought the men in that recovery residence to the little church that I pastored on Sunday morning. I pastored a church of about 50 in Lafayette, Georgia. If any of you know anything about Lafayette, Georgia, it's a rural community, conservative rural community. And here I am pastoring a church of about 50, and 20 men in a recovery residence show up on a Sunday morning. And that afternoon, David called me and said, hey, the men enjoyed your church and they would like to begin to attend. I said, well, let me talk to my church. And that evening I talked to my congregation and said, the men would like to begin attending our church. And my congregation said, if they want to come, by all means, we'll embrace them. I said, you just need to know, in a town like Lafayette, a church our size, if our 50 become 70, but 20 of them are men in recovery residence, it'll change the face of our church. And it'll change the way the community views our church. And we embraced those men in that recovery residence. And we were prepared for it to change the face of our church. What we weren't prepared for was for it to change the heart of our church. Because I saw men, some of them big, strong, tough men, break down and cry as they talked about their addictions. as they talked about how it had cost them their jobs, their spouses, their children, their relationships with their parents. And I was torn because what I had always believed about addiction was that these addicts just don't care. They don't care enough to do what they ought to do. And what I'm seeing with these men is they cared. They cared greatly. And they just couldn't seem to get beyond it. Over the course of the next couple of months, as I worked with this meth bill and began to establish myself as a freshman, and freshmen, by the way, are supposed to sit in the back and watch and learn and not be involved. And here I am carrying a bill that would become a model bill used in a number of states around the country to address the meth epidemic. And the director of the residential program came to me one day and said, I just got an email from the Georgia Council on Substance Abuse, and they've identified you as the point man in the state of Georgia in the fight against addiction. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to be the education guy, or the economic development guy, or the public safety guy. Those are popular. Addiction, that's not what I wanted to be. But it wasn't about me. The reason I ran for state representative, by the way, is because I felt God leading me to. I was recruited to run. I never had any desire. It's a long story I don't have time for. But my family, my church, I asked them to pray about it. They all agreed, you need to do this. I knew God wanted me to run. I had no idea. All of a sudden, it became obvious to me why God wanted me to be there. There was a group of people in this state that were not being represented, a group of people in this state that people didn't care enough about to try to help, and God wanted me to be a part of that. So I became that guy. I embraced it. I became that guy. The Georgia Council on Substance Abuse came to me after that first session and asked me if I would go to attend a summit in Philadelphia on the science of addiction. And I did, and my eyes were opened, and I began to understand addiction and how addiction rewires the brains, and it changes everything about people. It was 2010 that I was invited, along with Commissioner Nail and 6 others from the state of Georgia, to be a part of that Pew Summit in Annapolis, Maryland. That was when I was introduced to the fact that we are systemically handling addiction improperly when it comes to evidence-based sentencing and correction. And it was like a light bulb came on for me, because I knew that one of the indicators of addiction was that an addict is an individual who will continue to engage in destructive behavior with no regard to the consequences. That's one of the indicators of addiction. Yet for some reason we had decided that we were going to correct addiction with consequences. And if those consequences didn't work, we needed to up the consequences. If they didn't get it the first time, we needed to send them somewhere else. If they spent 3 years and that wasn't enough, maybe they need to spend 5 years. 180 degrees different from what science and evidence will tell you about dealing with addiction. Addiction-driven crime was a real problem in Georgia. Governor Deal attacked that. He embraced that. The things that we have done in Georgia over the last number of years, incredible to see those kind of gains here in the state of Georgia. I am proud to have been able to be a part of that. I am proud to have been able to work with Commissioner Nels and others as we began to put in place those recommendations from the Criminal Justice Reform Council under the leadership of Governor Deal. It has been an honor to be a part of that. I've had the opportunity to speak in state legislatures in more states than I can tell you. I've had the opportunity to speak on Capitol Hill. I was appointed to be one of 2 state experts on a congressional blue ribbon task force on federal correction, one of the 2 state experts out of that 9-member task force. But one of the greatest opportunities for me is to be able to stand here this morning and speak to you all. Because I know what you do on a daily basis on the front line. I didn't know that before I got involved in the world of politics, quite frankly. Can I just be honest with you? I didn't know there was really a difference between probation officers and parole officers. It was a really distinct line, but I didn't know that. I had no involvement in it. I'm fortunate. My family and inner circle of friends didn't need your services. So, as Vice Chair of Public Safety and Homeland Security, I learned pretty quickly the difference. And I learned pretty quickly what you all do every day out there, helping protect our communities, helping make our communities safe. I was excited when it was announced that parole and probation would be coming together and forming a Department of Community Supervision. And I was excited to hear that my friend would be the one that would be leading this new organization. What an incredible step forward, in my opinion, for the state of Georgia. And I believe that it has been proven looking back, hindsight, it's proven that this was the right choice to make, the right decision. And nationally, it has been recognized that this was a great decision for the state of Georgia. This is a well-respected organization. And it's because of you and the work that you do. So we're here today to honor you for your outstanding work. Some of you will be called up on the stage, and you'll be recognized. Others of you won't. But I want you to know that every one of you, in my mind, is a winner. Yes, we'll celebrate the ones up here, but every one of you are winners in my mind. Your job is a lot more than just supervising offenders. As the largest law enforcement agency in the state, you have a statewide presence that allows you to have the ability to impact people throughout the entire state. And you leverage that opportunity effectively. Your person-centered supervision models allows you to treat those you supervise with respect and dignity. And many of you have the opportunity to work with those individuals, not just for a few weeks or a few months, but you have an opportunity to work with them for a few years. Removing obstacles, improving outcomes, restoring justice, making a real difference in their lives. And while I know it's the ones who fail that may stand out sometimes as the most obvious, I understand that. I understand it well. When this group of individuals started attending our church, there was one in particular that just, to me, he had everything that it took to be successful. An incredible young man. And when he completed the program, he elected to stay in Lafayette, and he brought his wife and his kids to Lafayette with him. He got a job, and he got involved in our church, and eventually I appointed him to be our youth leader. He was doing incredible things. It was amazing to see how God was working in his life. And I'll never forget, he was one that understood accountability. So anytime that his wife was going to be out of town, he would invite a friend to stay with him. He didn't want to stay alone. I was out of town one week at a real estate conference. I owned a real estate company at that time, and I was out of town for a real estate conference. And his wife had went home for a couple of days, and I got a call on Wednesday night from someone in the church. Brian didn't show up for youth service tonight. So I called Brian, and he didn't answer. Initially, when he finally did, he said, "Man, I'm sick, Jay. I'm sick." I said, "Brian, are you just sick?" "Yeah, I'm just sick." Talked with him for a little bit. didn't buy it. Called him the next day, and the next day he admitted that he had used. It was payday. He got home with cash in his pocket, and his neighbor, as he was checking the mail, his neighbor made him in the mailbox and said, "I got some Coke. You interested?" I was devastated. I remember calling my mentor and talked to him about it, and he said, "Jay, it's not your responsibility. You provide the opportunities and the resources, and you provide the support, and you do everything that you can do. It's not your responsibility. You can't take the blame for that failure. Just like you can't take the credit for the success." I think it's important for you to understand that, yes, there are going to be those times when those offenders you supervise fail, but you can't take the blame for that. No more than you can take the credit for when they succeed. But when they succeed, celebrate those successes, because you have made an impact on those lives. The most obvious results are restoring lives and restoring families, building up careers, turning those one-time tax burdens into contributing taxpayers. Those are the kind of things that you all do on a daily basis. You do it through day reporting centers. They offer the hope of recovery for the participants. The impact that you have on individuals is hard to measure. I can tell you that, but I can assure you this: you're making a difference. You're adding value not only to those individuals, but to their families and to your communities. And in addition to the work you do in supervising, you give to your communities in so many different ways. 2 days a year, you have a day of service. I applaud you for that. You support your community organizations. You partner with them, doing things like National Night Out and the Special Olympics of Georgia, the Camp Puzzle, so many things that you're involved in. You care about your communities. You serve and go above and beyond, and you make an impact in your communities on a daily basis. As a result of the leadership of your agency, the Georgia Department of Community Supervision has become a national leader in community corrections, but that doesn't happen without you. I do want to caution you, though. I know what it is to give and to give and to give. And I know how easy it is to give too much and to not take enough care for yourself. I've been there. I burned out. I remember very clearly when I burned out. And it took me a minute. It took me a couple years. I walked away from the church I was pastoring, and I decided I'd never pastor again. It was too much. And I didn't for 5 years. Anytime you are in an occupation where you are giving and giving and giving, you have to understand the importance of taking care of yourself. Your leadership works hard to provide you the support and the resources that you need to be able to take care of yourself. They have focused on families and making that a priority. Work-life balance is a priority. They celebrate you. Today is one of those days they celebrate you. Take advantage of the opportunities that they give you to recharge, to get those batteries charged back up so you can go out and keep doing the job that you do. And by all means, every day, look for ways to add value to others. Family, friends, your community, the people you supervise, your coworkers. Look for those opportunities to add value. And when your job becomes a challenge, when you see things through the media or through social media or in the community, I know it's a difficult time to be in law enforcement. I understand that. So many people out there don't understand you. They don't understand what you go through every day. They don't understand your experiences. They don't understand your heart. They don't They don't understand your character. They don't understand why you do what you do. In those times when you begin to doubt, in those times when you start hearing those voices from the outside that make you wonder why you're doing what you're doing, I want to remind you of a story that I heard a long time ago, and maybe you've heard this. There was an elderly man that was a rider that was walking on the beach one day, and as he was walking, he saw a small boy out in the distance, and he noticed that every once in a while the boy would stop and bend down. But he couldn't really tell what he was doing. As he got closer, he recognized that that boy was picking up starfish and throwing them into the ocean. When he got closer, he asked him what he was doing. And he said, "See all these starfish? When the sun gets out, they're going to die if they can't get back in the ocean. I'm saving their lives." And the man looked around at the thousands of starfish and he said, "Well, you're really not making a difference. How are you going to make it? There's thousands of starfish here. You can't make a difference." And he bent down and picked one up and threw it in the ocean, and he said, "It made a difference for that one." Remember, every day you have the opportunity to make a difference for that one. You can't be responsible for all of them. You'll never save them all. You'll never be able to turn around every life. But you can make a difference for that one. And I am one that just believes that there's no words to truly express the gratitude that we owe you for the work you do. So let me just make it simple. On behalf of all Georgians, thank you. Thank you for what you do to make a difference in people's lives. And God bless you.
Wow. Thank you, Jay. Thank you for your contributions to the state of Georgia, as well as for being here today and providing us with those outstanding remarks. I know Sherry was thinking, who are we going to have come up here and follow a pastor and a politician and get this thing moving along? So I do certainly appreciate your remarks, Jay, and thank you for being here again. I was excited this morning to come here. I think the thing that I was most excited about was when I got up this morning, I put pants on and I put shoes on, and I actually came to an awards presentation that was in person to be able to see all of you here in person. And so I'm truly grateful for that. I know the last several times we've done this, it's been online, and I know many of you were sitting in front of that screen without pants on and without shoes on. So anyway, I'm grateful for that. We are going to start off today's presentations with a special recognition. And this recognition is something that is very close to my heart, and that is honoring our strategic planning and analysis and research and data division. Now, years ago, prior to having this unit, we had pretty much data services, and we would constantly get requests for information and data, and we had a group of people that were very good at running that data and providing it to others. And then we rely on others to tell us what our strategic planning should be and do the analysis of our data and do all the background work on our data and tell us what the results were. And we decided several years ago that we were going to have our own strategic analysis, and we were going to do our own data mining, and we were going to make strategic decisions as an agency based on the information that our own strategic planning division put together. And I cannot be more proud of the group of people that we put together and the work that they've accomplished. So we're going to start off real quick with a video, and then we'll call them up here for recognition.
Hey there, A big shout out to our Strategic Planning and Analysis Division, as well as our Research and Data Services Division.
Thank you to the hardworking and dedicated Strategic Analysis and Research Data Services teams.
Hello everyone. I want to take a moment to thank our Strategic Planning and Analysis Division, as well as our Research and Data Services Division.
To our Strategic Planning and Analysis and our Research and Data Services, thank you so much for all your contributions that you have made to this agency.
I want to wish a huge congratulations to our Strategic Planning and Analysis Division and our Research and Data Services Division on this year's special recognition.
You all do a wonderful job each and every day in helping our agency chart the course and provide the necessary information to make sure we're on the right route and we're taking the right steps each and every day to help us get there.
Your strategic foresight has enabled us to capitalize on hidden opportunities and imagine the new future. The work that your teams do allow us to navigate the ever-changing landscape of community supervision.
Your work is critically important in achieving the mission of DCS. You provide us with the information that we need to make strategic business decisions so we can move this agency forward.
The vision and evidence-based practices that you have developed continues to keep our agency at the forefront.
Pushing the boundaries of the norm and advancing our vision. The work that you do makes DCS shine in so many ways on so many levels. Specifically for the training division, we thank you for your teamwork and your commitment to quality instruction. Whether as an instructor, a panelist, or an advisor, you help so many employees see how they connect to the department's bigger picture.
Your efforts are a huge contribution to this agency in telling the story of who we are and where we're going. You play a vital role in advancing our vision and are a pleasure to work with.
Nick, you are always so considerate with your time to training, and Maria, you never hesitate to let us know how we can remain cutting edge. Thank you both, and congratulations to you and your team on this special recognition.
Thank you for what you do. Thank you for your commitment to this agency and your professionalism. And congratulations on this recognition.
Congratulations on this very special recognition for a job well done.
Thanks for all you do.
Thanks for being such a vital and critical part of our mission. We could not do it without you.
Thank you. How many of you? The last thing I'll say is I cannot tell you, once we stood up this division, how impressed everybody within the agency has been with the work that they've produced since it's been stood up. And it has exceeded expectations more so than anything we thought they could have brought to this agency as far as their contribution to our strategic decisions as we go forward. So please welcome to the stage Nick Powell, Maria Stevenson, Karen Bowens, Brooks Gentry, and Marcia Hopkins.
Congratulations again to both of those divisions. They truly do move our agency forward. At this time, we'll move into the presentation of awards. So just a few quick instructions. Once the nominations are read and the award winner makes their way to the stage, we ask that you just kind of follow suit. Where you enter the stage, where there are group photos, we'll take the group photos in the middle. Where there are individual photos, we'll follow the instructions of the photographer. And then you'll exit after the photo is completed. So easiest mud, I'm sure. At this time, we will bring forward our Director of Executive Operations, Ms. Sandra Thomas, to present the Command College Scholarship Awards, as well as the Faithful Service Award recipients. Let's give her a hand as she comes now.
Good morning, and thank you, Brian, so much. Y'all look so good, and what a great day for DCS. I do have the privilege and the honor to announce our Command College Scholarship recipients. As you know, the Command College Scholarship Award is awarded to DCS employees who are actively pursuing advanced education at the Command College in association with Columbus State University. This program of study provides a curriculum that goes beyond what is currently available in public safety, executive, and management development courses, serving a graduate level education for public safety executives. The recipients for the 2022 Command College Scholarship is Philip McCrary from our training division and Courtney Watson, a DRC administrator out of Clayton County. Please come forward. I also have the privilege to present our 25, 30, and 35-year Faithful Service Awards. Faithful Service Awards are presented to employees of the state of Georgia to provide recognition for their years of faithful service and to show our appreciation for their dedication and commitment to public service for all Georgians. Every year is an important year, but there is no denying that the milestone years like 25, 30, and 35 years are an extra cause for celebration. We celebrate you today because of your commitment and your faithful service to the agency. So congratulations, and we wish you the best in the years ahead. So starting with our 25-year awards, as your name is called, please come to the stage for recognition and a group photo. And I will add that the certificates have already been given to the honorees. So starting with Eric Barber. Melissa Corbin. Bert Fluellen. Craven Goodman. Nakia Gresham. Henry Harris. Carla Heelan. Buster Johnson. Elizabeth Kent. Beth Lewis. Perry Price. Chiquita Riggins. Valerie Ross. Sabrina Smith. Tracy Stevens. Deborah Suber. Clinton Talton. Richie Thompson. Julie Thrallkill. Susie Turner. Valina Williams. Dwayne Womack. And Sonia Yarbrough. Let's give them all a hand. And now for our 30-year Faithful Service Awards. Mary Arthur. Greg Brown. Denise Hodges. Michael Parker. Gerald Pearson. Jacqueline Posey. Laquan Smith. Marinette Stansel. And Sandra Thomas. And now, to our most elite group, our 35 years of faithful service. You've gone through so much. I can imagine the good times and the bad times, different administrations, but you're still here. So thank you. Everybody get on your feet when they're called for this special group of people. As your name is called, come to the stage. Robert Brisingdine. Philip Cherry. And Keith Watson. Congratulations, guys. What an elite group. Congratulations. Absolutely. Congratulations. Congratulations.
That's amazing, man.
Congratulations to all our winners.
Good morning. I am honored to be with you here today. And it was also nice to share the stage with my friend Craven Goodman there for a minute. If you don't know, we're both from Griffin. That's kind of like being war buddies. Right? We like to say it ain't hell, but you can see it from there. It's kind of tough, you know, when you get your tires rotated in Griffin, they take them off your car and put them on their car. We got a nice children's zoo, though. You might have saw on the news the other day, 4 kids escaped. All right, so it is an honor to be with you here today to present 2 awards, the first of which is the Customer Service Award. And if you're not familiar with that, it's awarded to individuals for performing in an exceptionally courteous and cooperative manner, or for providing exceptional support for coworkers, supervisees, or the general public that increases public safety and or the community good. And I think the next slide has our nominees for the year. And you can see all of those nominees are very well deserving. However, there can only be one winner. And this year's winner is Trinandez Head.
Trinandez Head currently serves as an academy instructor. He serves as the lead instructor for the Basic Community Supervision Officer Training course. Trinandez is passionate about developing new officers into the best they can be. He is selfless in his service, putting others ahead of himself and ensuring he is available at all times to support the students throughout the training program. Trinandez is self-motivating, always striving for excellence with the mission of the department at the forefront of his mind. He possesses a self-awareness of how his behavior and instructional methods impact not only the students, but the department as a whole. Trinandez exemplifies teamwork. He continues to build positive relationships with staff at Gypstick and all other stakeholders. Trinandez embraces DCS values of accountability, integrity, selfless service, teamwork, personal, and perhaps most important to him, professional development. Congratulations to Trinandez Head.
My next award here is the Leadership Award, and it's awarded to individuals for outstanding performance and guiding attention to issues and concerns that impact the quality of the agency's work and environment. And you can see our nominees for this year, all very well deserving. And I have the 2022 Leadership Award here in my hand, and I'm going to give it to Brittany Watkins.
At the time of this nomination, Chief Brittany Watkins led an ad hoc team within the Atlanta Judicial Circuit. She is in charge of a field team, the field training officers, and all elements of the Metro Atlanta DRC. She holds a prominent position supporting major programs within the circuit. Chief Watkins is an amazing asset for the Atlanta Judicial Circuit. Chief Watkins provides guidance and training for officers that are not directly in her management flow. The staff gravitate towards her and trust her judgment. She goes above and beyond in community service projects that rally the efforts of the Atlanta Judicial staff in making a huge difference in the local community. Chief Watkins has spearheaded several DRC initiatives this year. She does a tremendous job working with other units to ensure that they understand training and works hard mentoring new officers. She has captained the holiday drives and the back-to-school community service drives. Chief Watkins has stepped in front of several major issues and truly handled them all at the appropriate level with grace and distinction. She leads from the front. She is quiet yet heard. She is an invaluable member to the Atlanta and to the entire DCS team. Congratulations, Chief Watkins.
Good morning. I have the distinct pleasure of awarding our Stakeholder Award. The Stakeholder Award is awarded to individuals or organizations outside of DCS for performing an act that furthers our mission or makes significant contributions to supervisees or our community as a whole. Successful relationships with stakeholders are essential to our success. It requires a balanced commitment and investment from each party to ensure partnerships will drive impact, innovation, and longevity in overall returns. It takes hard work and vision to build these strong partnerships with all of our nominees. The outstanding nominees for the Private Stakeholder Awards are listed on the screen behind me. Please join me in congratulating all of them. However, it gives me great pleasure to award this nominee with the 2022 Private Stakeholder Award to Phil Stroud with Tip Top Poultry.
In 2020, Phil Stroud and the Tip Top Poultry started a program called Hope for Returning Citizens. This program provides an 8-week motivational course, assists with education and housing, and provides mentors and ongoing support after the formal program ends. Since the program started, 60 participants have completed the program, and 12 participants are currently in the program. Safe and affordable housing is a major barrier for returning citizens being released back into the community. Participants in this program are provided safe and secure housing that is paid for with their wages from working at Tip Top Poultry. Another barrier to consider for returning citizens is having someone to help guide and mentor participants into making positive life decisions. Phil has been able to locate volunteers to include DCS officers as well as local businesses and churches to serve as mentors. The success of this program has resulted in 0 participants returning to prison or jail. It has changed the lives and made Cobb County and the state of Georgia a safer and more productive place to live. Phil retired from Tip Top Poultry in January of this year, but he still continues to oversee the Hope for Returning Citizens program. Congratulations to Phil and the Tip Top Poultry program.
I also have the pleasure of presenting a second award. This award is for our public stakeholder. The outstanding nominees for our Private Stakeholder Award is listed behind me. Please join me in congratulating them. I'm sorry, I did just what the Shari Show told me not to do, and I made a mistake. Public Stakeholder Award. I have the pleasure of announcing the winner for the 2020 Public Stakeholder Award goes to Sheriff David Roberson with the Floyd County Sheriff Office.
Under the guidance of Sheriff Roberson, the Floyd County Sheriff Office is active in the community, taking initiative to be especially productive with youth and seniors. Just a glance at the Floyd County Sheriff's website shows the concern his department has for those in crisis. Sheriff Robertson oversaw the implementation of the new mental health ward at the Floyd County Jail and is a devoted partner and resource to our mental health supervision efforts. The jail's new mental health unit is already showing promise. The need for this facility goes back to 2011 when the Northwest Georgia Regional Hospital closed and many residents ended up involved with the criminal justice system. Several local groups have partnered with the Sheriff's Office to provide services at the new facility. Based on his willingness to engage the community while embracing positive changes in an individual's rehabilitation, Sheriff Robertson completely embraces the DCS mission. Congratulations to Public Stakeholder Award recipient Sheriff Dave Robertson. At this time, we'll keep moving right along, and we'll bring up Deputy Director of Special Operations, Mr. James Bergman, to lead us in a moment of remembrance and celebration.
Thank you, Brian. Good morning. Let's shift our focus for a few minutes and think back on those who left us over the past year. One of these was a part of our DCS family, and there were others that were part of our extended family. We're a family of friends and coworkers. We celebrate together, we mourn together, and over the past year, our family has suffered loss. For some, these losses are still fresh on our minds, and the pain remains. Let's remember the positive impact these individuals who are no longer with us have had on us and on our agency. Let's celebrate their lives. Please continue to be in prayer for and in support of the families and the co-workers of those we lost. As I've said before, peer support is not just someone's job, it's everyone's responsibility. Officer Roderick Thomas served as a CSO3 in the Stone Mountain Circuit. Roderick began his career with the state of Georgia in 2007 with DFACS. He became a probation officer in 2015, and in later that year, he transferred to DCS at its inception. One of Roderick's co-workers had this to say about him: "You could not ask for a better co-worker. He was always helpful and seemed genuinely happy to assist. Even when he was just stopping by the office for a second, he would take time to help conduct drug screens, pat down a supervisee, or perform any other task that was asked of him. Did he grumble? Not that I ever heard. Even when he had been out in the field since 5 a.m., he still did the extra tasks with a smile. It was clear that he was raised to be compassionate and kind, and that he had a heart to serve. Roderick treated his supervisees with respect. He was firm but gentle. Even when he was not feeling his best, he still persevered. He got the job done and gave us his very best. Excellence from him was an understatement. Officer Thomas was a true officer and a gentleman. He is missed daily." Roderick gave of his time and his talents to serve others, and he did it gladly. Please join me in a moment of silence, and if you feel led, if you feel led to do so, I ask that you use the time to say a quick prayer, asking for peace and comfort for the family, friends, and co-workers of Roderick as we remember him today. And also remember those others in our agency who lost family members and friends and who suffered other losses throughout the past year. As we finish this time of remembrance, I want to remind you that DCS has a peer support program. That team is always available to everyone within DCS. Peer team members are trained to provide interventions and an empathetic ear for employees suffering from the after effects of a critical incident or for other stress-inducing events. It's not counseling and it's not therapy, but it is support. Sometimes it's as simple as providing an ear to listen or a shoulder to lean on. If you want to take advantage of peer support, all you have to do is contact any one of the team members. If you would like for one of us to check on someone that you're concerned about, you can tell us about that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, James. And as always, we know DCS is a great family, and we have a family ethic that we stand by. So let's always remember to lean on each other and love on each other as much as we can. And with that, we'll move back now into our presentation of awards with our Day Reporting Center Awards presented by Sherry Bloodworth, Director of our Recidivism Reduction Unit.
Good morning. And I have to say, Director Neal, when you started giving your remarks about the day reporting centers, I thought you had like stolen my notes or something. But in all seriousness, that just reinforces the importance and the recognition of our day reporting centers and the hard work that the day reporting center staff do each and every day across our great state. It is my privilege to present the DRC highest overall performance centers today. In order to highlight the contributions our DRCs make towards advancing the mission of DCS, quarterly awards were implemented to be given throughout the year. Those sites with the most community service hours completed and the highest employment rates were recognized each quarter. The DRCs continue to find creative ways to ensure that we continue to deliver programming and accountability necessary to provide opportunities for successful outcomes. Today, we will recognize 2 DRCs with the highest overall performance. These programs have demonstrated consistency both in maintaining high employment rates and high rates of community service hours completed while maintaining the highest census in fiscal year 2022. So the DRC finalists include Atlanta Day Reporting Center, Macon Day Reporting Center, and Rome Day Reporting Center. And I am pleased and excited to announce that the recipient of this year's highest overall performance is Macon Day Reporting Center District 3. Ms. Nikisha Hooks, please come forward. And this year's grant-funded DRC finalists include Alcovey Covington, Mountain Clarksville, and Mountain Toccoa programs. I'm pleased to announce that the recipient of this year's highest overall performance is Alcovey Covington Day Reporting Center. Assistant CSO Chief Stacy Lester and Dawn Corbin, please come forward. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So I have the distinct pleasure of giving out three awards this morning. So y'all be patient with me, okay? On the first award is the Video Spotlight Award. The Video Spotlight Award focuses on one of the fundamental strategies of the Department of Community Supervision, to provide person-centered supervision to individuals we supervise. It's an opportunity for officers to showcase their knowledge and their skills and enhance supervision techniques. In an effort to recognize the exemplary work of CSOs in the field, we have implemented quarterly awards for video interactions demonstrating the highest standards of person-centered supervision and highlighting the use of ESP skills. Today, we would like to recognize the recipient of the Video Spotlight Award of the Year. The Video Spotlight Award of the Year finalists include Tony Higdon, Richie Thompson, LaKelsey Dobson, Molly Stone, and Chelsea Bartholomew. And the winner of the Spotlight Video Award of the Year is Tony Higdon.
CSO2 Higdon did an outstanding job using the effective use of reinforcement skill with her supervisee. Their interaction was a great example of being able to complete an ESP skill in the field. It demonstrated that it doesn't have to take much to complete the skill and that it can be fit seamlessly into your conversation and be extremely effective. CSO Higdon completed all the skill steps and reinforced how well the supervisee had been doing under supervision. I'm sure that interaction encouraged him to continue that positive behavior. Congratulations, Tony Higdon, CSO Officer 3.
The next award is the Tiffany Bishop Award. Tiffany Bishop Award is in recognition of Tiffany Bishop, a young probation officer who in such a short time had a profound effect on those around her. I never had the opportunity to meet Tiffany, but speaking with those who have, you can tell she had the potential to be great. It's an honor for me to have the opportunity to present the Tiffany Bishop Award. This award is given to the DCS officer within their first year of service who has excelled by producing consistently high-quality work and has fostered unity with coworkers and the community beyond expected standards. And just like Tiffany, all these nominees and winners have the potential to be great. The nominees are Lauren Boyer, John Revogel, Nia Burns, Kristen Clark, Ariana Cordova Rodriguez, Madeline Goodacre, Deneen Hunter, Shanita Matchett, Quinice Platt, and Jerry Stargell. And the winner is Ariana Cordova Rodriguez.
Ariana Cordova Rodriguez began working for the department in September 2021, and it was quickly evident that she possessed an energetic, highly motivated attitude and character. CSO Cordova is bilingual, and her ability to speak multiple languages is an invaluable asset within the Tifton circuit. CSO Cordova is also an active member of the United States Army Reserves. Her prior and continued professional work experience has played a pivotal role in her current position with DCS, and it is apparent that she understands the true meaning of hard work, dedication, and selfless service. CSO Cordova has quickly become a forefront member of the Tifton circuit through her leadership skills, knowledge, experience, and interpersonal skills. It is truly special to observe how her fellow officers and coworkers gravitate towards her and look to her for assistance. Great consideration is given to her opinions as evidenced by conversations with our community partners and circuit staff members. She is a devoted leader and well-respected by all stakeholders within the Tifton circuit. Her contagious attitude, selfless service, and strong work ethic sets the standard amongst her fellow officers. CSO Cordova is clearly on the path to becoming a phenomenal officer and departmental leader. Congratulations, CSO Cordova Rodriguez.
The last award I have the honor of presenting is the Heroism Award. As we go through our day, we never know what may happen. We hope each day ends with everyone safe, but some days the unfortunate happens. we come across an accident or someone in distress that needs our help, I'm proud to say that when our officers find themselves in these situations, they act and they do their best to assist and comfort those in need. Today, we would like to honor those employees that stepped up when they found someone that needed their help. The Heroism Award is awarded to individuals for acts of heroism or outstanding deeds which resulted in the protection of life and/or property. The nominees are, excuse me, Tim Bell and Cameron Glass, Harold Carter and Curtis Thomas, Kevin Devane and Tara Taylor Cochran. I know Tara's gonna get mad at me for messing up her name. Haley Ellis, Jenny Hammett, and Cora Moore. Now, when you have acts such as these, it's not just to give one person a presentation for this. Each one of these individuals that have met the criteria for this award will be given an award. So I'll call each one of them out, and then we'll have several individuals coming up for this award. The first winners are, y'all waiting? Okay. Tim Bell and Cameron Glass.
On the evening of July 18, 2021, around 8 p.m., Officer Tim Bell received a call from the Chief Deputy of the Miller County Sheriff's Office explaining that a supervisee under Officer Bell's supervision was currently barricaded in his home, both armed and paranoid and manic. Officer Bell contacted Officer Glass, and they both, without hesitation, responded to the scene to assist in any way possible. Upon arrival, the supervisee requested to speak with Officer Bell. The subject had a loaded firearm on his side and was threatening suicide by either law enforcement or by a self-inflicted gunshot. Officer Bell, bravely and with all safety precautions feasible, approached the residence and spoke to the subject through a door where he could see the supervisee. Officer Bell did his best to de-escalate the situation. Finally, after much discussion and time, the supervisee exited the front door of the residence and shot himself in the chest. Officer Bell and Officer Glass took immediate action to get the supervisee medical assistance. Fortunately, the subject later recovered from his suicide attempt. Both Officer Bell and Glass went above and beyond and demonstrated bravery in their response. Congratulations to Officers Tim Bell and Cameron Glass.
Our next recipient of the Heroism Award is Kevin Devane and Tara Taylor Cochran.
CSO Devane and Assistant Chief Taylor Cochran went above and beyond what is expected of them and put their safety and well-being aside to assist someone in need during a crisis situation. On January 26, 2022, around 4 p.m., an accident occurred at the intersection of Lee Street and Lamar Street, which is at the Americas Department of Community Supervision office. Investigation revealed that a motorcycle turned too far out into traffic and was struck by the vehicle, knocking a passenger on the motorcycle off and causing major head injuries along with other serious injuries. The victim could be heard screaming and speaking of pain. CSO Devane and Assistant Chief CSO Tara Taylor Cochran were at the office and provided immediate assistance to the victim. They made sure the victim was safe and comforted the victim until EMS could arrive and take over the scene. The victim was later air-flighted to the Macon Trauma Center. The quick and steady response from these two brave CSOs saved the victim from further injury. Let's give them a hand for their work.
And the next recipient of the Heroism Award, Haley Ellis.
On February 9, 2022, CSO 3 Haley Ellis was conducting a field interaction at the residence of Bobby Williams. She noticed that it was taking the supervisee longer than normal to answer the door. The supervisee answered the door and was obviously in medical distress. Officer Ellis then asked the supervisee what was wrong, and he stated that he had been having trouble breathing for about 3 days. Officer Ellis then told the supervisee that she was going to call an ambulance for him. At first, he denied wanting an ambulance. However, Officer Ellis was insistent that an ambulance be called. The Pike County Fire Department arrived on scene about 30 minutes later. The supervisee's oxygen level was determined to be dangerously low. Officer Ellis then sat with the supervisee for another 30 minutes waiting on an ambulance to arrive. The supervisee was transported to the Upson Regional Medical Center in Upson County. Officer Ellis went to the hospital and visited with him as she knew that he did not have any family. Haley's quick thinking, insistence on calling 911, and visiting the supervisee at the hospital reflects positively on herself and the department. She is commended for going above and beyond the call of duty, and the agency is proud of Officer Ellis's commitment to serving her community and the citizens of Georgia. Congratulations.
And our final recipient of the Heroism Award is Jenny Hammett.
CSO3 Jenny Hammett's keen sense of awareness and attention to detail resulted in an abducted child being found and returned home safely to their mother. On November 9, 2021, CSO Hammett conducted a routine field visit at the home of her supervisee. During the interaction, the supervisee's mother came to the door with a young child wrapped in a towel and introduced the child to CSO Hammett. CSO Hammett kindly greeted the child and the grandmother, and at the time, CSO Hammett was wearing her Axon body cam and recorded the event. The next day, CSO Hammett had seen a news article online of a missing 3-year-old boy abducted at gunpoint by his non-custodial father. On November 9, 2021, just before 5:30 p.m., Mr. Brooks abducted the child after having an altercation with the child's mother. In the news article, there was a picture of the missing child. CSO Hammett recognized the child and believed it to be the same child she had seen the day before during her field interaction. CSO Hammett immediately reviewed her Axon body cam video to compare the picture in the article. Once she compared the two, she immediately contacted her supervisor, assistant chief, and advised her of the situation. CSO Hammett's Axon body cam video was reviewed and confirmed that this, in fact, was the missing child. The authorities were promptly called, and the location of the child was provided to the Clayton County Police Department. The child was found and safely returned to his mother. This is a prime example of how important our role is in protecting and serving the public. CSO Hammett is deserving of this award due to her quick response and action that resulted in a 3-year-old child being found safely and returned to its mother safe and sound. Congratulations.
All right. If you'll just keep your pants on for a couple more minutes, we will get to our last 2 awards. It is my honor and privilege to be able to present these 2 awards for the Employee of the Year. This award goes to DCS employees who are producing consistently high-quality work beyond expectations and standards over an extended period of time and/or who have achieved substantial contributions within the criminal justice field. We have 2 awards. One is a non-sworn employee and the other one is sworn. Please join me in recognizing the non-sworn Employee of the Year awards. Nominees. And this year's Employee of the Year non-sworn is Donna Moore.
Mrs. Donna Moore began her career with the state of Georgia in August 1990 at the Gracewood State School and Hospital as a secretary for the Staff Development Department. She has been the District 10 Administrative Assistant since the creation of DCS and has faithfully served 3 district directors. Ms. Moore is the go-to person for all things related to the district admin position. She has been asked to train several new district director admins, and she is often called upon by others for her knowledge and expertise. She is one of the hardest working and loyal people that I know. She has served on several committees to review and improve DCS processes. Recently, she served on the action team that looked at the recruitment and hiring processes, as well as the use of the forensics assessment tool. I am constantly receiving words of praise about Donna from the District 10 chiefs and the new hires that she has onboarded. We are all better managers, leaders, and employees because of Ms. Donna Moore. Congratulations.
Thank you. And next we have our Employee of the Year sworn nominees. Please join me in recognizing those nominees. And our Employee of the Year sworn this year goes to Lisa Garcia.
Lisa sets the standard when it comes to excellence in DCS, displaying great leadership simply in the way she carries out her job responsibilities daily. Her dedication to professionalism, advocacy, and leadership bring great credit upon the Toombs Judicial Circuit, DCS, and the state. Lisa has stepped up to assist and make interactions on 2 other caseloads in her area for other officers on extended leave, even though she was already carrying a full caseload. In most instances, she took it upon herself each week to review the monthly supervision activity reports for the officers that were on leave to determine which of their supervisees needed field interactions. When needed, Lisa also provided assistance with court work in all 6 counties, as well as data entry into the portal, Scribe, and GCIC. Lisa's video interactions reflect her emphasis on protecting the public, supervising effectively and efficiently, and helping to create opportunities for successful outcomes. She spends time with the supervisees and their families to ensure all their needs are being met with the resources available to them. She truly cares about her community and all of its citizens. Congratulations, Lisa.
So my understanding is that Lisa is working. So congratulations to Lisa and as well as Donna for the Employee of the Year award. So in closing, first I would like to take an opportunity to recognize all of those that were on the award ceremony committee. So if you will all please stand up and please give them a round of applause. It really does take a lot of work to be able to put on a ceremony such as this, as well as coordinate all the nominations. It's an incredible amount of nominations this year, which just speaks volumes to this agency and the work that you guys do to provide this agency to make us the best agency in the country doing community supervision. So I want to close briefly with just a short story. And as many of you know, a lot of times when I give any kind of remarks or closing remarks, somehow I manage to bring my family into it. And so I was reminded of years and years ago when my son decided to play baseball for the first time, and it was t-ball, very young. And so the first practice they had, the coach told them that after every game they had, he was going to give out a game ball. And so my son at that time was determined that he was going to get one of those game balls throughout the course of the year. And so he had me out there on a regular basis, hitting balls off the tee, throwing back and forth, playing catch. And sure enough, the first game comes along. They actually win the game. And I think my son was probably the only person on the team the game that wasn't playing in the dirt, picking roses and daisies out of the grass and running around in circles and stuff like that. So he ended up getting the game ball. And so, but the thing that stuck out to me the most with that whole process was that when the coach gave him the game ball, he said, "I'm giving you this game ball because of your contribution to making this team a better team today. And every game ball going forward will be for the person that contributes to the team being a better team." And I think today's recognition for everybody involved, you guys have all for the nominees as well as those that have won the awards, your contribution is recognized today for the hard work, dedication that you put into your job on a daily basis. It's not something that you did one time and you got recognized for it for the year. It's something that you do on a daily basis with your commitment and drive for your work. But I also think, and I'm committed to the fact that the contributions that you made in order to be either recognized today as a nominee or as an award winner makes the team better. And so for that, I want to one last time say congratulations to all the nominees as well as all of the award winners, and please give them a round of applause. And I truly hope that we will be back here in person again next year to have another awards ceremony, and I look forward to the next one. And as you guys go home, please remember that all of you, regardless of whether you were nominated today, whether you received an award, whether you're just here to support those that were nominated and received awards, all of you contribute significantly to the success of this agency, and I thank you for that. So thank you and congratulations again.